Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another video. This time, Neospatian, Elemental Heroes. Now, I've been waiting a bit to do this deck profile because I just got my um, Dark Panther. I don't know why it took me so long to pick him up, but yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite decks from back even when I was a kid. Um, you know, we really don't play most of the cards that were from the Elemental Heroes, like the Clayman, Bubble Man. You don't really see those being used anymore, unfortunately. But it's cool to see some of the pieces of the Elemental Heroes deck still being used. So let's get into the deck profile, and I'll try and show you the combos that I do know. All right, let's get into it. So, Elemental Hero News. Oh, just to preface, I mean, there's a bunch of YouTubers out there. Jaden BR YouTube. I mean, he plays mostly Master Duel these days. There's also this guy named Peru something something. These guys play a lot of Elemental Heroes, and I think Peru especially plays Neos. And they preface this by this being such an old deck with some modern support, but not it's not really all fully tied together. So if you're playing this deck or you expect great things from it, please don't. I mean, this deck is super bricky, but it's fun when you are able to play the game. But yeah, just getting into it. So we got two Elemental Hero Neos. We got the two different covers for this. I mean the two arts for this. So I mean, playing this at 3 is kind of bricky. 2 is nice because um, even though some cards can interact with this being banished, like if it does get banished, it's nice to always have a second copy in your deck. So two Elemental Hero Neos. This is essential for a few of the combos. I would say most of the combos. Stratos. Now this is your best normal summon, and this is definitely what you would search off of Hero Lives. But when this is normal special, you can destroy spells or traps if you go in second, right? Or add a hero, which is usually what you would go for. Um, you could consider playing this at 3, but there's multiple ways to search it, which I'll show you. With Hero Lives and the E Hero card, so that, there's multiple ways to search this. So I don't necessarily think you need to run this at 3. Let me know what you guys think about this ratio. Blazeman, this is great just because when this is normal or special, you could add a polymerization, which you always need. You're trying to fuse, right? Then it also says during your main phase, you cannot special summon except fusion monsters. Also send one hero monster from your deck to your grave except Blazeman. So this can foolish, but then you're locked into hero fusion. So it's a nice card to special off of you know different effects. Well, I'll show it to you. Like, I'm not a master of Neospatians, but I know some of the tricks. So this is a great one of. Crosskeeper is excellent because you could send this from your hand or field to the grave. Special summon one elemental hero or one Neospatian from your hand or grave. It'll typically be an elemental hero, right? So if you have Blazeman or Stratos, or there may be one or two other elemental heroes that we have in your hand, and then you can special summon them, and then this has an effect in the grave. If you special summon a hero fusion while this is in your grave, you can banish this, then draw 2 and place 1 from your hand into the deck. So this is a great card, 3 of. It really works well with the elemental hero cards that you have, or the Neospatians that you have. Even though these don't really do anything on summon, these are essential for the some of the spell cards and for certain fusions. So these are mandatory one-ofs. You got your Grand Mole, you got your Aqua Dolphin, and your Dark Panther. Mandatory one-ofs. This could technically be like a tech card. Like, this doesn't need to be in the main deck, but I like to keep. I like to keep the Winged Karibo card because what this says is this card is always treated as an elemental hero and a favorite card. So you just saw Crosskeeper can special summon this. So, I mean, it's not like you're always going to have this in your hand, especially if this is a one of. That's not necessarily why you want to keep this in your deck. But it's also a favorite card, which you can search off of one of the main fusions that we run. So, what is the point of this card? So, if this, um, so there's another way to special summon it. You could banish. Oh, actually, yeah, I stand corrected. You can't special summon this with Squirrel Keeper. It says must be special summoned from your hand or grave by banishing elemental hero fusion or one wing rebuild, which you won't really have. So you gotta banish one elemental hero fusion from your hand, face up field, or graveyard. Um, when an opponent's monster declares an attack or your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you contribute this card, destroy that monster, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. So it doesn't actually negate the monster's effect; it just destroys them. So it's just another disruption, you know. Like Heroes Dex doesn't really do much, so it's just nice to have another disruption. Honest Neos is just a card I really like, so you can consider it a tech card. This doesn't have to be in the main deck, but if you discard it, you could target a hero. It gains 2500 attack until the end of the turn. Quick effect. Um, so this is just good, like to survive a battle, right? If you have this in your hand, you could surprise your opponent. Armed Dragon. This is for one of the fusions. I'm sure you know what this is for, but I'll show it to you later. So then the other most important card of the deck, Elemental Hero Spirit of Neos. When opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this from your hand in defense, and if you do, it cannot be destroyed by a battle. So this is a great way to protect your field if you have this in your hand. Um, Unless they know you searched it, and then they'll just negate it, I guess. If this card is special summoned, you could add from your deck to your hand a polymerization or a spell or trap that mentions Elemental Hero. During your main phase, so when this is on the field, you can shuffle this card into the deck and special summon a hero normal monster, which is, the vanilla Neos. So this is a good way to get Neos on the field, is if you could special summon this. So great card. I run two of because, like I said, if it gets banished, I'd like to know that I could still get to it. Neos Fusion. So this is a great card. It says special summon a fusion monster from your extra deck that lists exactly two monsters as material, including Elemental Hero Neos, by sending those from your hand, deck, or field, ignoring its summoning conditions. It's cool, right? But for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters. So it just kind of locks you. This literally has to be the last card you play. So it's nice, but this is like a last resort. If a fusion monster you control that lists Elemental Hero Neos as material will be destroyed by battle or card effect, or shuffled into the extra deck by its own effect, which you guys should know the OG Neospatian cards did that. You could banish this card from your grave instead. So it's a powerful card, but it has its downsides. So EN Shuffle, I feel like, so we're getting to my cards, my spell cards. I feel like this is definitely a card you could run at 2. I feel like this was expensive at the time. I'll have to check. Shuffle Elemental Hero or Neospatian you control into the deck, and if you do, special summon an Elemental Hero Neos or Neospatian with a different name. You banish this from your graves, shuffle from your grave an Elemental Hero and a Neospatian or one Neos, then draw one card. Okay, so this is just a draw, and then I guess let me know in the comments, like, is this something you would run more multiple of? It's nice to get access to a different Elemental Hero card, But I think this is kind of situational. I think that's why I ran this one of, unless it was expensive. In Wave, if your elemental hero monster is used as material and sent to the grave or banished, you can special summon a Neospatian or Neos from your deck. If a Neospatian or Neos you control is shuffled, you can special summon one hero monster from your grave. So yeah, this is kind of situational. Like this is, the cards that are very unique to Neos decks, but I don't really know if you really want to see these cards like in your hand at the start all the time, you know. But Ian, engage Neospace. Send one Neospatian and one elemental hero from your hand and one from your deck to the grave. Special summon a Neospatian or one level 5 or higher elemental hero, which could be him, right? Spirit, right? It could be Spirit. It could be um, base Neos, right? And if you do, add a polymerization from your deck to your or graveyard to your hand. But then this locks you into fusions. So this is a great card. Definitely consider running this at 3. Except, I run other cards too. We're getting into the good cards. So it's just, like how many cards could you run in this? We'll count this up in a second. We got polymerization. Yeah, this is a one of. Like if you're running like super poly or something, why would you want more poly cards? Super poly is a great tech card. If I actually don't get into it in the tech cards, super poly is great if you could fit in the Garura and the Mud Dragon and stuff in your extra deck. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Got Miracle Contact. Shuffle into the deck from your hand, field, or grave the fusion materials are listed on an elemental hero fusion that lists Neos as fusion material, then special summon that fusion monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So this is a great card. I don't know why I don't run this at 3, because I don't even think you could search this. So this may have been expensive. This is definitely a card to consider running at 3, because you could shuffle from your hand, field, or grave the fusion materials, so you can get into the extra deck easily if you just like dump stuff into your grave, and the opponent's like, oh, what are you gonna do now? Miracle Contact, from the graveyard. So this is great. This is definitely something you can consider running at 3. It may have been the price on this. Reinforcement of the army to search your. I told you there's multiple ways to search Stratos. I'm about to show you right now. Reinforcement of the army. One way to search Stratos. E-call. Another way to search Stratos. A hero's lives. Another way to search Stratos. So yeah, that's why I was running 2 Stratos. Like there's just so many ways to search it. Miracle Fusion off of Sunrise. Instant Contact. This is nice. This is a great way to extend through interruptions. Pay 1,000 life points, special summon a level 7 or lower elemental hero or Neospatian from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. But if Neos is neither on the field or in your grave, the effects are negated. So get Neos into the grave, then you can instant contact and extend your plays. This is a tech card, Neospace. Elemental Hero Neos and all fusion monsters gain 500. That's whatever. But it says they don't have to shuffle themselves back. So this is more like a tech card. This probably shouldn't be in your main deck. Just when you're talking about Neospatians, you have to talk about Neospace, right? Favorite contact. This is awesome. This gets you into all of your plays. Special summon a fusion from your extra deck that mentions a hero as material, ignoring its summoning conditions by placing the fusion materials mentioned on it in the deck from among cards in your hand, field, grave, or banished. Okay? So, this card is broken. The reason why you don't run multiple of this is because you need cards to play, right? you can't play this card turn one, and you need to get the materials. Um, oh, actually, yeah, you need to get the materials either in your hand, field, or grave, or banished. It can't be in your deck. So you need cards to get them into those places, and then you could really get some nice plays with favorite contact. Protection of the elements. Now this is a cool card. When a spell trap is activated, banish a face-up elemental hero you control until the end phase. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the card. And the rest of it is not something you would activate because you need Terra Firma, which no one plays. Um, so this is a cool card. It's just you gotta kind of have to set it up because you need a face-up elemental hero on your field. But we'll get into that. So let's get into the extra deck. So let's get into the links first. So I see some players run links and some players don't. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're missing some cards here. Oh my gosh. Okay, talking about the extra deck. Now for Elemental Hero Neos, there's three ways you could potentially have your extra deck set up. You could go all in on the fusions, so you're talking about like all the Neos fusions. Um, you got the different original basic ones, and there is a funny hand rip sequence you could try and pull off with Aqua Dolphin and Marine Neos and the other Aqua Fusion. You could rip like three cards from the opponent's hands, but that's a little beyond the scope of this video. I was looking, I had this card uh, in my binders, and then I just realized this can only be summoned except with the Nex, which is like this card that no one ever runs. So I have this card, but I don't think it's as useful except through like a Neos fusion or something. But actually, it says cannot be special summoned. Yeah, like you need a card that says um, regardless of the summoning conditions to summon this. So I have this card like as in like you could run it in here, but its conditions are very specific. So just keep that in mind. You got Rainbow Neos, which you would have to run a card like Rainbow Dragon, which is an ultimate crystal monster. It says it right here. Treated as an ultimate crystal monster. It's hard to read, but if you look up Rainbow Dragon, I think the dark one is the only other one that's considered an ultimate crystal monster. So what's cool about this card? I've seen it resolve in like these YouTuber videos. Peru, I forget his name, but yeah, those guys are crazy players. But anyway, once per turn, you could send a monster you control to the graveyard. It doesn't have to be this one. Shuffle all monsters your opponent controls into the deck, or send a spell or trap you control, which is kind of rare with Neos. Shuffle all spells and traps your opponent controls. And then send one card from the top of your deck to the grave. Shuffle all cards from your opponent's graveyard into the deck. This is a crazy card. Like if I mean the way I saw it in those videos, like the opponent interacts with literally everything else that they see. Just don't they don't let the Neos player play, and then they resolve this either with like a Neos fusion or something else, and then they just shuffle all the cards back and then OTK for game. So this is very very funny card. You do have to run a brick though, but I'm sure you're familiar with that if you play Neos. Let's keep that in here. So yeah, like I said, you could run all of the fusions. Now like there are some very useful like Nebula Neos, which is crazy too. I mean, I've seen videos of this resolving with a card called Contact Out. Contact Out. So basically, What this card does is, if this card is special summon, draw cards equal to the number of cards your opponent controls. Oh, yeah, you can't read this. Um, I wonder if I could focus this better. But yeah, if I waited to fix my setup, just to preface, these videos would never get done. So I apologize about the quality of the visuals on the cards. But yeah, if I spent all my time fixing my setup, I'd never get a video done. Anyway, um, draw cards equal to the number of cards your opponent controls, then negate the effects of one face-up card on the field. And then what Contact Out does is, so this is made from Neos, Elemental Hero Neos, Neospatian Grand Mole, and Neospatian Dark Panther. So this is on the field, and then you play Contact Out, and then this goes back to the extra deck, and then wherever your other cards are, the Grand Mole, Dark Panther, Neos, they come back on the field. Then you play another Contact Out, those go away, then you bring this back. It's actually kind of crazy. And then you draw even more cards. So this is a crazy card. I don't actually have Contact Out in my card list, but it's something you can consider if you like Nebula Neos. This is good just all on its own, but you could draw a ton if you're able to play this with Contact Out. Just an interesting interaction. Um, and then you could run the links. I like running the links because in case you get stopped some way, links are always another like backup plan. But I believe they always kind of restrict you, if I'm not mistaken. Um, you cannot special summon the turn you activate this card except hero monsters, and that's significant with my next setup. But yeah, let's just get into it. So Wonder Driver can reuse like a fusion card that you have, so this is really great. From the graveyard. And Infernal Devicer, you can reveal a hero fusion in your extra deck, and if you do, add up to 2 of the fusion materials listed on the card and add it to your hand. So this is almost like a fusion deployment, but like you don't special summon it, you just add it to your hand. So this is a good way to get certain pieces to your hand. And then you have the core cards. You got Sunrise. This searches you Miracle Fusion. The new Wingman card. This searches you favorite cards, which is favorite contact, or the new Wing Karibo card if you want. Then you got Brave Neos, which also searches cards that list Elemental Hero Neos, but you have to attack with this card. So this is a turn 2 card. You got Wake Up, which is kind of better in like pure hero decks because this pairs nicely with Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer. Because you can just pop this card, and then if this is destroyed, you can special summon any warrior from your hand or deck. So that could be like a way to search out Neos or the other Spirit of Neos, Stratos. You could go into anything with this card. But this is more of like an OTK card. But yeah, essential. Shining Neos Wingman. This is essential. You may even want to run 2 of these. This card is so useful. So this is what you would summon off of favorite contact if you're not going for like the Cosmo Neos play. So what Shining Neos Wingman does is, if this is special summon, you can destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of different attributes among the monsters on the field. Okay, and then if this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack. And this also gains 300 attack for each monster in your graveyard, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects. So this is a really powerful card. I almost recommend running 2 because it's just so useful. Like if you're not able to OTK them, for example, it just disrupts the opponent. Like it doesn't get removed easily. It's just a lot of good things. Cosmo Neos is like the most broken card that we have. It's just hard to get out because you need Neos with three Neospatian monsters with different attributes. So you really got to search out all those pieces, and then you could favor contact this. But if you are able to activate this for the rest of this turn, so you got to do it on their turn, right? Your opponent cannot activate cards. Also, your cards your opponent controls cannot activate their effects. And then your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. So this is broken. It's almost like a guaranteed win card if you're able to resolve it. So that's why it's like the win condition of many Neos decks. And then I showed you Rainbow Neos, and the other one is Arm Neos. This one is decent. Um, if this is special summon, you could choose a dragon, which it was the level 10 armed dragon. So level 10 and below monsters of the opponent controls would be destroyed. Um, when this card destroys a monster by battle, you can make it gain the effect of during the main phase. You could tribute this card and special summon Hero Fusion from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. That's kind of rare to resolve, if I'm being honest, but it's there. So you could go all in on the fusions and the links, like I showed you, right? Just go all in on Elemental Hero stuff. The second way you could play this is going like draw power. So Dugaris is easy to make because this is two level 4s. You just gotta get around the restriction of your you can only summon hero monsters, or you can only summon fusion monsters, which Neos Fusion has a restriction. I showed you the Infernal Devicer has a restriction. So as long as you don't summon those, you could play Dugaris. You just can't draw the next turn, but it's a way to draw on your turn, right? An extra way to draw, and then that could also lead into Yugioh, which is another way to draw and special summon on your turn. In Master Duel, since Isold is available, if that ever comes back, you could also consider it Isold. I mean, you'd have to run more bricks with the equip cards, but some of them are not really that bad. So essentially, you link summon Isold. That gets you into Renaud. Renaud can bring back any fire monster, or an equip card which can bring back other monsters from the graveyard, and then you could go into Dugaris from there to draw, and then with all the monsters on the field, you go into Saryuja. So it's kind of it's a very potent combo. It's just in TCG you can only really use these two cards right now to draw into. So that's like another way you could go about it. Like you could just go to draw power if running all fusions is not enough for you. And then the third way is with these are the tech cards, right, which I didn't really talk about. But the third way is Super Poly. Super Poly is so powerful, the opponent cannot respond to it. This is always a viable way to build your extra deck. So if you run 3 Super Polys, which is a tech consideration, then there's tons of these cards out there, right? These tons of these generic fusions. You could run Dragostapelia, Mud Dragon, Garura. There's the Ignister Golem. There's the Warrior plus Dragon monster. I forget the name of it, but yeah, there's at least 3 to 4 fusions you could run, maybe even 5 if you wanted to, if you want to fill out your extra deck. So that is the third way to go. What do I personally do? I personally do not run Super Poly, because sometimes you get locked in. But this card is so powerful. If you're being competitive, this is probably the way to go. Like go Super Poly, because the draw power, like when it works, and for example, if you run it with like, where's if you run it with like Nebula Neos, Say you draw with Nebula Neos, then you draw with Dugaris, then you draw with Saryuja, and you special summon. Like, it's just plays on top of plays, and the opponent's just like, what the heck is going on? Like, so, and it just gives you more options because you just draw into more of your um, powerful cards in your Neos like repertoire, and then you have other options. So it is powerful when it works, but it's just kind of hard to get going, the draw power way. And then the fusion way, as long as you practice with the different powerful cards. I mean, we're talking on the extra deck, but like, Cross Sleeper has good effects. Um, Spirit of Neos has good effects. Neos Fusion locks you, so you've got to be careful about that. These, Shuffle, Wave, Space, they all have good effects. Polymerization is not a once per turn. E-Call is not once per turn. Heroes Live, as long as your field is empty, is not once per turn. As long as you're able to, Miracle Fusion is not once per turn, but I don't know how you could get this back, really, besides maybe Wonder Driver, you know? Its contact is a good play, and then your favorite contact is broken. So if you're able to maximize your heroes cards, and the opponent doesn't really know what to stop, then fusions alone is usually pretty decent because, like I said, Rainbow Neos is broken, Arm Neos is okay, Cosmo Neos, if you resolve that, opponent's gonna lose. Shining Neos, Wingman, like I said, you should probably run two of these. This card is devastating if you're able to resolve it. I guess some modern decks these days don't care about if you destroying their field once, but for most decks, that's kind of GG's. Yeah, and then these are your searchers. So if you're able to like really practice and understand what your deck does, then just fusions alone is probably good enough. I mean, if you don't like some of the fusions, definitely just run Super Poly, and that's just another way to break the opponent's board. Speaking on tech cards quickly, I mean, really, going first to set up Cosmo Neos and Favorite Contact is definitely the way to go. But it's the modern game these days. Like you're not gonna get anywhere. So you really need to plan to go second most of the time. So your board breakers. These are your defensive cards. I mean, in terms of hand traps, I mean, you really don't have much room for hand traps in this deck, unfortunately. But like cards like Forbidden Droplet go hard. Like I said, the hand trap way. I mean, like unless you're like one of those super competitive players, it's really not gonna work. But like the evenly matches, the Forbidden Droplets, Super Polys is the way to go. I mean, if you know which opponent's playing and they're weak to Raigeki, like say Kashtira or like Harpy Feathers Duster if they're a back row deck, like if you know what they're playing, then these could be good. But yeah, that's Neos in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to see you guys in the next video, and I hope to be a little better at putting these videos out faster. I have a ton of decks, literally, guys. I think I posted about like 4 decks now. I have literally like 100 more to go through, either through physical, which I hope to do as many physical card, you know, deck explanations as I can, because I got these cards and I just want to show them to you guys. Or if I don't have all the cards, I'll do them digital. Alright guys, see you guys in the next video. Take care.